Hi, you guys. I am live now for our Q&A session of Fun Money. And actually, I'm just realizing I don't like this position so much. Hang on. There. Yes. So, funny story. My phone got left in the car, and I did not want to push this even later. So, I just am doing this on my iPad. And we're going to see what's going on here. So, I'm just going to go into the group on my computer so that I can see if there are questions in the Q&A. This is so funny. This is called Making It Work, you guys. Okay, let's take a look. Do we have questions in the Q&A thread? I don't see any questions, comments in the Q&A thread. So that's all right. We're here live now. And we are just going to roll with it. So we're flexible and we are feeling it. The feedback that I have been getting from everybody about this is so big, it's so deep. Conversations I've been having with private clients. Hi, Lisa. Conversations I've been having with private clients about the subject matter. This has been very deep. Especially yesterday when we were talking in day 2 about the difference. Hi, Cassidy. Oh, thank you so much. It's one of my favorite silk snake shirts, and I decided that we're just doing a red lip today. Why not? I always love the jewelry. These are actually the earrings that I bought for my girlfriend. That was one of my fun money practices. I left one at her house when I was visiting her in Houston, and she just kept it and put it into one of her additional piercings. So then I sent her a bunch of them, and that was my fun money move. Hi, Tabby! Yay, this is so cool. So the background is a little different. I decided to fight the sunbeams. This is a better angle, but also low-key. I forgot my phone in the car, and so I'm doing this on my iPad. So this is called Making It Work. We are currently stacking the iPad on top of several German encyclopedias covering Alexander the Great to Frida Kahlo. Kahlo? So this is what we're doing. So fun money, something that hit deep with clients who've been telling me in our private containers. The analogy that I shared about the difference between Stella, my daughter, being bossed around, ordered, she has to clean her room, you're doing it by yourself, as if it's supposed to suck, you know? And that's okay. Again, I'm not throwing shade at my husband. I'm not throwing shade at anybody, however they raise their children. But having the knowledge of psychology. Oh, hello from Mexico. That sounds so good. Let's have a retreat by your house, Tammy. So knowing what we know about psychology, and myself knowing that Stella is 7, this is such a deep, influential age. The stories that become her truth now are going to get locked in quite a bit. So that's why I didn't want to make her feel like the things that she's responsible for are going to be heavy. Now, this resonated very much. This resonated with a lot of people. And what is great about this, though, if this resonates, all of this work, when it resonates, what it's doing, I would love to, what it's doing is it's identifying where that wound is, because sometimes, so any of this work, so, ironically, in Fun Money, we have hit on a lot of heavy subjects, a lot of really important elements for making it feel good and safe with money, which is how money can be fun. It's like sex, right? Sex can't be good if we don't feel safe, really, right? It's intimacy, so we have to have intimacy with ourselves and with money. So the good thing about leaning in and doing this work is when you touch on something that hurts, particularly when there's something that's if you avoid checking your online banking, or if you notice you see something that you like, and then you're like, oh, well, I probably can't have that. If you just automatically assume that you can't have it, it's like, why are you assuming that? Whose voice is that? And then through this work, you're being given the tools to really, diagnose and get really deep in and be like, oh, so it's not just this vague, general, I'm not good with money, money's uncomfortable, oh, women in my family, or people in my family, we don't handle money. Now you're saying, I can be a person who's great with money. I can be a person who experiences more and more money. So you see, you're creating a bridge of possibility to it. I can be. It's just that there's this thing that hurts. And now I see what that is, and I'm going to nurture that part. I'm going to reparent that part. I'm going to rewrite that story for myself. Just like how I showed Stella, cleaning your room can actually be really fun when you're listening to Katy Perry and having a dance party, and when you're going to make pancakes together afterwards, or muffins or something. So we can reparent ourselves, like asking the question, what would it take? Like in the what if practice, like what if it goes wrong, but what if it goes right? So you can play with this, like what would it take for me to feel safe? I would feel safe and good and fun with money if I knew that there was always more money coming in, if there was always more where that came from. Like that's even that is a really interesting concept just to play with no commitment to it, just to play with it and be like, how would I move? What would I do? What would I choose if I knew that more and more money was coming in? Like if your money was like this plant that would automatically regenerate itself. So you're like, I'm going to spend all that money on this today. It's okay if it works, or if it doesn't work, it's okay, because I have more money tomorrow coming in again and again. If you knew that it was always going to come back, what would you do? What would you do? This is a good question. And then an interesting follow-up question would be, how would you let people treat you? What would your boundaries be like? What would your standards be like? And this is a really quick way to figure out where there might be some people pleasing that's lurking, right? Like, do you really want to stay at your in-laws' house, or would you rather stay at a hotel? And like, I feel that, you know, I prefer to stay at a hotel sometimes. And when I'm safe and flexible and easy breezy with money, I can, you know? So you can see how money gets to be funner and funner and funner when it creates more and more freedom and power and impact for you. So this is all very interesting, and I would love to hear from you. If anybody has a question for today, you can feel free to drop it in. I have a question. Tammy, how well do you tan? So you're in Mexico now. I actually tan surprisingly well. So I would, for a person with fair hair and fair eyes, I do love the sun. And I laser my face to take care of all of the fine lines. So I love it. So Tammy, I just wondered if you sunburn or if you're a tanner. If that's good. And if anybody has a question, and if there aren't any questions, that's awesome. If there aren't questions, then we feel complete, and that's fantastic. Let's see. Can I repeat the question? I was talking about the money tree. The money tree, where if the money regenerated. That was like a wild vision that just came up. The first question would be, the first question would be, what would you choose to do? What would you choose to do in a day with your money, or with life in general, if you knew that money was like a plant and it was going to reach like a magic plant that you can just take a piece off and then it's going to regenerate and even maybe grow a little bit more the next day? So what would you do today if you basically knew that you couldn't lose because you knew you're going to get more money? And like, what if it was $6,000? What if you had an automatic, hi Brittany, no problem. Let me refresh the question. Yeah, definitely you can elaborate. We're here, Brittany. So if you knew that you had this regenerating source of income, what would you do? What would you invest in? How would it feel fun? What kind of chances would you take? What risks would you take? How would you experiment? If you knew that no matter what, like, I can join that master class, I can invest in that mentor, I can put some money down, I can go get that car, I can lease it because I have more money every single day, why not? So it'll show you your true desires in a hurry. And then the second part, I'm actually going to write this out for you guys. That would be a little bonus action section today. And then the second part of that question was, how would your boundaries change? How would your standards with people change? So I'm actually just going to put this here. And there's something that I will suggest for all of you too, which some of you may be familiar with. It's the secret to money app. And it is an app that pretends to give you money every single day, and then your only job is to spend all of that pretend money every single day, and then it will give you more money the next day and more money the next day. So I'll suggest that. I haven't used it myself in quite a while, but I do recommend it to clients sometimes. And recently, one of my clients, she did this, and she manifested, she wanted like 6 grand, and she manifested, and by manifesting, I mean money, literal money coming into her life in the form of cash and in the form of free shit that she was given. And it was like art and beauty treatments, like art, like how do you get free art? And it was exactly the piece that she wanted. And somebody's like, you know what? This is for you. Just take it. She's like, what? I'm like, oh, of course. And so the value was like more than, it was like 8 grand or more. It was like 5 grand cash, a sale from here, something from there, art, and like a bunch of other shit that she just received. It's the Secret to Money app. And I will put, you can search it right now, and I will put it into the guides section for today. And then the question, I'll share that question as well, about like the money tree visual. And question 1, just so that I put it into the guides. I would invest, take risks, have fun, move with it. I'm just coming back. And then part 2 is, how would your boundaries and standards shift? Like, okay, I mean like this. I don't have to travel business class. I'm okay. I'm skinny and I'm okay. I can travel economy. It's not a big deal, right? Especially if I'm flying with my daughter. I'm not paying for business class for like a 6-year-old. But my husband is like a man of the world. And recently he was traveling with me and he's like, oh, like, are we flying economy? And I was like, well, look at you, Mr. Moneybags, like always flying business class. He has points with a whole bunch of different things, so I don't know if he would be paying that cash, but for myself, I would be paying it cash. And I'm like, I will rather buy a Gucci bag than pay for business class. Like, that's just me. But that's his standard. So how do your standards change? What becomes non-negotiable with your standards if you knew that you had that regenerating money plan that was just always coming back? So to get into the feeling of playing with money, that's a cool one as well. But then what it will also do is it will help show you how authentic, I gotta write this out, how authentic are you being with what you really, really want? And like, if you're saying that money would do this and this for you, but you're not living like that because you don't have money, then in what ways can you kind of microdose those aspects so that you feel rich and it gets you onto that track? Otherwise, it's like this self-fulfilling prophecy, this cycle of like, I'm not enough, I don't feel like I have enough, there isn't enough. My life is evidence that there isn't enough, you know what I mean? So I think that could be really interesting. Yes, I like that. Okay, let me get to the comments and questions. I thought I had water in here. Oh, whatever. Oh my gosh. Yes, we need to plan a Femlux event in Nuevo Vallarta. Listen to that Spanish of mine. I would love to. Let me see. Lisa Marie says, I'm just scrolling up. I remember when I started doubting, sorry. I felt so much better giving money responsibilities. Yes, giving money a job. And then remembering when I started doubting that it is not my job, it's money's job to take care of those payments, to provide comfort for you. And when it feels tight, sometimes, especially for those who have an open ego center, open emotional center, or an open root, open identity center, like our open centers can be where we carry wounding around value. So then it can feel like pressure to have a specific amount. And then it's like, oh, what am I worth? And this goes for everybody with the business who's pricing themselves as well. What am I worth? What am I worth? You are priceless, period. So if you desire to manifest a feeling of richness and ease, then I love what we talked about yesterday. That's just, I'm open to receiving more and more money all the time. I'm open to living in a state of overflow all the time. I am open to having more than enough for everything I desire and a little extra all the time. I'm open to the miracle of having a cushion for the craziest emergencies that might happen. And then you can see you're building this identity. Even I can feel it as I was doing the tapping. So the inside of the wrist anchor tapping is amazing, especially with money stuff, money and safety, which are so closely tied together with the root chakra. But you can see that there's this identity being formed that's like, I'm the person who money is protecting me. Money takes care of me. I have a cushion. I'm the one who has backup plan. I'm the one who, you know, my house is always the warmest. My fridge is always the fullest. I always have more than enough. I have overflow. And then from that place, it feels so big. It feels so wonderful. But then it's also satisfying the light worker in you and the sensitive soul in you, because it's like, if you have overflow, then of course you have extra to share and extra to give and extra to have fun with and extra to spoil yourself and to spoil others and to help people who need help and to donate to the causes that you want. Of course you do, because you have overflow. That's what overflow means. It doesn't mean almost getting close. No, it means overflow. That's what it means. And even if you want to lock that in, like take a glass of water and pour into it until it's overflowing, and then be like, that's money. That's my money. So much money I can barely keep up with it. So much money I don't even know where to put it. So much money I'm gonna have so much fun. Like, see how you're building this energy. It's so good. Tammy says, 3/4 Irish, 1/4 Métis. Native blood helps with the tannic a lot. That's cool. There are some legends about my family as well. It's I don't know how come I have such light features, but I literally do not burn. I can also handle really spicy food. I once drank a shot of hot sauce on a dare from some Korean friends, and nothing happened. I'm immune to spice. I love it. There would be more sovereignty for me to follow all of my pings. So when you have all this overflow, there's sovereignty. You get to follow. Exactly. You get to have fun. You get to chase those rabbits down the hole, see where this goes, pull the thread. Who cares? Reset button is happening tomorrow. I love it. And let's see. Okay, Brittany, bitch. I always have to say that, Brittany, from now until the end of time. I always will. Kayla says, I mean, One Biz is a website, so everything is online, but all your clients are Canadian. Your online business, it doesn't matter where your clients are. It's about where the business is registered. And then that's the stuff, as far as I understand. Although, let me add the caveat, I'm not a tax accountant. I am not an accountant. I cannot give legal advice. Do your own research, hire your own professional, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. But if it piques your interest, then do a little research. Why not? Yeah. Okay, Q&A. So feel free to post a question in the here, and also looking at the Q&A thread. Okay, Brittany says, okay, the IG story I share today is your biggest fear. It's you. Let's talk, Kayla. I think you could, like, why not, right? Plus, you would love Dubai, and Dubai would love you. Okay, Brittany says, the IG story I share today is your biggest fear ever, with a lot of A's, so you know she really means it, you guys. If you're open to sharing, how you handle some of the messages of hate. Specifically, I share my money journey, but there's this little voice in the back of my head that's like, what do my minimum wage earning high school friends think of me? Okay. I wish I had my water. I'm thirsty, you guys. It's okay. Okay, so what happened today, for those who haven't seen my stories today? I woke up this morning, and I know we're not supposed to do this, but I check my phone, like, when I get up. I just love waking up. I love waking up to the DMs that are like, I want the link for that thing. Sign me up for that thing. I'm joining that thing. How do I work with you? I just love opening my phone and looking at that. I'm like, when I open, I'm like, yay, I love this day already. And but this time I woke up and I had a nasty comment saying that I was bullshitting, saying that I was lying. Basically, she said I was lying, and I actually have a whole Instagram feed post that I've made about this. It was celebrating 118K day, and that was a day. That month, I think, was $122,000 sales month. That was 118K day. And it was interesting. So she said, like, ha ha ha, bullshit, with a bunch of I's and a bunch of T's and then some like shitty emojis and stuff. And the interesting thing is that today, on this day now, I like literally snort laughed. I'm like, snort laughed. And I'm like, what a loser. And I deleted it. I blocked her. I deleted the comment. I blocked her. I'm like, woo. And I just made my pre-workout and like start my workout. I'm like, I don't fucking care. I don't have anything to prove to you. And especially like particularly that day, it wasn't even like people have said mean things. Like I've gotten mean comments before sometimes. Sometimes they're vague, sometimes they're specific. Sometimes in the past they have hurt my feelings. I'll talk about that. But today I was just like, this like 118K day, I'm like, obviously it happened. And even in the post, like if anybody knows the post that I'm talking about, it's a carousel post. And I actually break down like where I came from, like my story. Like I know poverty. I know what it's like to feel poor. I know what it's like to have half a can of tuna for lunch and half a can of tuna for dinner. I was a bartender at that time and I walked out. I just quit because I hated it so much. I was tired of getting my ass grabbed all the time by these weirdos. And I'm like, no. And I'm like, I choose to be poor this summer because I'm not going to choose to be sexually abused every time I fucking go into work. And I was like very poor like that whole summer, but it was also one of the best summers ever. So I know what it's like to be like choosing to pay the cell phone bill or rent, like asking to borrow money from my dad for rent and him saying no. And I'm like, okay, like, I'm on my own, but I'm like a baby. I was 18 at that time. So that was what I shared in the post. So for this person to be like, bullshit, I'm like, oh, okay, so am I lying about all of it then? Like, am I lying about the income success? I'm a success mentor, by the way. I'm not sure if you saw my bio, but I'm a fucking luxury success mentor, stupid. We talk about money here a lot. Idiots. You didn't have to click on the post. But then also, like, I mean, if you swiped through and read the story, like, are you calling me a liar? Like, do you think I'm a pathological liar here? And I was just like, it didn't even hit me. So, like, bring me to say specifically, it didn't even touch me because it made me laugh because it's 100% true. Like those were two contracts. One client who chose to continue working with me for 2 years. She chose to re-up for 2 years, extend. And another client who also chose to extend her contract. So that was 118K. And that wasn't even the whole month. But that was the two things that happened in one day. And that's what I mean. It only takes one moment of inspiration, one moment of inspired action, one moment of bravery to go do something different, to go show up, to be creative, to tap into that, to follow that excitement, to follow that nudge, to follow that feeling. And then you can have something go from a regular schmegular day to like the biggest fucking exciting money income day of your life. And it only happens when you move. So it's easy. So anyway, like this one today, it didn't hurt me. But that is, and I'm going to talk about the people in high school in a second. It didn't hurt me because it couldn't even touch me. That would be, I've used this analogy before, so clients who've worked with me for a long time will have heard me say this before. I'm very blonde, as you can see. I've got very green eyes, and I'm pretty tall. I'm like a leggy blonde. The way that I felt about this hating comment would be the same as if someone grabbed me on the street and said, you have the ugliest brown hair that I've ever seen. And I'd be like, okay, psychopath, my hair is blonde. So it's just that expression that it can only hurt us if there's a part of us that believes that it's true. So that's one aspect. That would be the truth of me deflecting, not giving a fuck about today. I'd be like, are you okay? Like, if I was going to respond to that person, I'd be like, dude, are you okay? Like, do you have a fever? Are you drunk? Like, are you okay? Because you're not making any sense right now. You should probably call a relative to come and pick you up because you're not making any sense. I think you've had a stroke. That's how I felt. So it's a very sassy vibe. But I have had, there was something that did hurt my feelings before. I remember being puzzled. I'm like, that does hurt a little bit. And I did screenshot it and I shared it with my mentor, and then I was held through it and I reflected on it. And I did choose to take some feedback from it. So when I had the white party, that was a big fun event. Many of you will remember that, and some of you actually came into this world during the white party, if you're watching this. Somebody took the time. So that was a big event. There was amazing branding. There were like 12 different incredible ways to work with me. It was so fun. It was so cool. It was also a big emotional commitment, because that's a lot of energy to hold for 4 days to have. I actually taught about that in the Biz Bliss Masterclass for all of my business queens, how to hold the energy of like a long, day after day after day sales event, and have potentially one of the biggest income weekends of your whole year. So I'm holding the energy and everything, and honestly hungover because I was drinking champagne the whole time. And this woman came in and took her time to send me like 7 messages about that long. And I was just happening to check my requests folder where messages from strangers go, just in case strangers were, because it happens, like they want the link for something, they find something. If we're not connected already, it will go to a different folder. So I have to check that folder. I or my team, we have to check that folder. So I see this person, it looks like a nice profile picture. I open up the messages and I was like shocked, because it was just so many messages criticizing me and like saying kind of the same thing, like, I don't know why you're doing this, like what you're saying is really triggering and it's manipulative and there's no way that what you're saying could be true and da-da-da. And I was like, I am like Mrs. Throat Chakra, like being legit and being authentic is kind of my jam. So I started out by being an empowerment and boundaries coach. I have nothing to fucking prove to anybody. And if anything, I'm here to be a lighthouse to show people what's possible. So again, like, totally a hater. But then this person was like, I don't want you to think that I'm coming at you based off nothing. It's like, I spent some time in your feed and you don't talk about how you do what you say you do. And I was like, well, how far did she scroll? Like, what is she looking at? But then I noticed that did hurt me a little bit, because I was like, oh, maybe I haven't actually been doing a lot of teaching content, like content that tells you how to do something. So I reflected, I noticed for myself, this is how I handled it. I noticed for myself, this does actually hurt. Like, this actually did sting. Okay, why did it sting? And then I had to do the detective shadow work for myself, the same that I would do with a client. And I was like, okay, if this feels true, part of it could be true. And then I did speak to my mentor about it. And I'm like, well, I could do more instructional content. And maybe there's a part of me that feels guilty that I haven't been providing more just how to educational free content, because I know that everybody's not going to invest in a high-end luxury mentor. I know that everybody's not there, and I want to be committed to providing people with amazing content that's going to support them and help change their life if they just stalk my feed for a while. I want to give that value. So I think, yeah, and as I say it out loud, I feel that it hurt because it felt like she was saying I wasn't giving value. And then that made me feel like I was greedy. And then I was like, oh, like that hurt. But then I was like grateful. So I did the shadow work for myself. So then I did a Ho'oponopono and I did some shadow journaling work. And then I was witnessed by my mentor. And then I wrote a letter of gratitude to this person. Hi, Chelsea. Hi. And then I wrote a letter of gratitude actually to this person. I didn't respond to them because it didn't feel good. It didn't feel like a clean energy. But I actually, in Ho'oponopono, I took responsibility for that. And I was like, I want to give more value content. Maybe I haven't, okay, there's room there for something. So I forgave myself and I actually thanked this person. I wrote a letter. Dear this person, thank you so much for this push that made me even better. This push that showed me that I can be even more loving. This push that showed me where there was something missing. Thank you. I appreciate you. And then I burnt it and I released it. And then I felt really good and it made me actually grow. So that's how I handled one hater. If she wanted to hire me, would I take her on? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If there is an urge to let somebody hire you, actually would be funny. I have thought about that sometimes, and I did joke about that today with somebody, I forget who I was talking to, but I was like, she can buy one of my programs. Like, she's a hater and she's got healing to do. But I would never, if a person, let's say if I did engage, I have like a no engagement policy because it's not my job to fix somebody else's wounds, right? Like, they can go read a book or do something somewhere else. Like, I'm not the one. And if a person was kind of mean to me, coming at me, and if I did choose to engage, I would examine very carefully for myself, why would I want to engage? What do I have to gain? What am I trying to prove? Who am I really talking to? Am I talking to the kids in high school who were mean to me, who bullied me, because I was bullied? am I trying to prove something to them? And there was a time when I did feel like that in my 20s. I didn't go to post-secondary. I felt really not good enough. And all of my friends went to uni, and I don't know. And when I was very successful as a businesswoman in Canada, I remember like flaunting around like my Louboutins and my chic short bob haircut and my fast black car. And I was like, oh, you're so cute, student loans? I don't even know what that's like. Anyways, I'm going to Tunisia, bye. So I mean, like, there was a time when I felt wounded feminine, something to prove. There was a time, that was when I was in my 20s. I wouldn't hire somebody, or I wouldn't let somebody hire me who's being an asshole to me, who's being disrespectful, because that's not meeting the standard of respect. That's not a kind of character that I want to work with. If I had any part of me that I was like allowing them to try to hire me, I would reflect on that, be like, is this fawning? Is this fight, flight, freeze, or fawn? What am I trying to prove here? And sometimes we let people get close to us because we're fawning. Because then we're like, oh no, but now we're friends, and so she can't hurt me now because now she likes me because we're, it's like what's it called when you become friends with your camper? Stockholm syndrome. It's like that. So absolutely not. I would never, and I wouldn't even recommend them to anybody that I know. So I hope that that has never happened. Don't ever do that, probably. And caring about the high school friends, I choose, okay, we create our reality based on our beliefs, right? I have lived that. I'm sure that many of us have lived that. I used to straight up fucking loathe my life here in Germany. It was really, really, really hard when I first moved here, 2013. So 10 years I've been here now. We moved into a flood. There was, we were briefly homeless, second-degree burns, car accidents, panic attacks, being medicated. And that was all within the first 4 months of being here. I thought that it wouldn't get any worse than that. It did. It super duper did. So multiple terrible accidents, multiple surgeries, PTSD, desperate severe loneliness, isolation, raising a baby in a, you know, when you don't have any friends, and you don't have any family, you don't know anything about babies, and you've had like a million miscarriages. Yeah, I went through a lot of shit here in Germany, but here's what I take responsibility for right now. I expected it to be shitty. I take full responsibility for that. I expected it to be shitty. I projected shitty. I wouldn't let anybody get close to me. I wouldn't ask for help. I projected shitty, and so I experienced shitty. And then, you know, I started healing my root chakra. That was my very first spiritual practice. And it was basically what triggered my spiritual awakening, and actually what triggered me to make moves to have my own business, which then became Femlux as it is now. My husband was in Beijing for work. He was traveling, he was doing conferences. He's a scientist and a surgeon. And he was just like casually in Beijing, like casually in Chicago, and casually here and there. And I was like, and I am here in the middle of fucking nowhere in northern Bavaria, Upper Franconia, where they speak a dialect of German that I can't even understand. True story. And I'm making macaroni, and you know, shopping for things online that I can't afford because I don't make any of my own money. And even though it's our money, I feel guilty, so I feel trapped. I can't even fly back to Canada to see my mom, whatever. And it was basically like, I'm either going to take responsibility and heal this, fix myself, or I'm like going to run away. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So started to do the root chakra work. And it was through the root chakra work that it unlocked all of my self-worth and let me see everything, and then start to believe and experience life in a positive way. And it was just like that fire. So very, very often it's the root and the sacral, you guys. And then when those are out of whack, so your sense of safety, security, worthiness, deservingness, the feelings of being safe and supported, and then the sexual trauma, blocks in creativity, believing that you're inherently not good enough, childhood fears. I just got goosebumps talking about that. But like, that dictates everything else. And like the way we show up, the way we love, the way we give, the way we receive, the way we feel, the way we express gratitude, the way we say what we need, the way we say what we want, the way that we believe we're going to get it, we're going to manifest with our throat, the way we have a vision for ourselves, we can see something, if we can see it, then we can make it real. Like, none of that works if we don't feel good and safe and solid in those other areas. And I remember Meadow. I wasn't going to say it, Brittany. legendary. Brittany and I have been working together for a long time, you guys. Okay. Speaking of healing root and sacral chakra tips, the meditation, Kayla, that was a question from Kayla. The meditation that I dropped into this program, the meditation that channeled through, like listen to that every day. Root chakra by a pair of Louboutins, red bottoms, just kidding, but not really. Do it if you want to. Beautiful practice for root chakra that's really simple. Every time you take a step, I am supported, I am supported, I am supported, I am supported. And journaling on ways I will feel safe today like this. I recognize that I'm supported today like this. I accept myself as a being of this planet like this. So I like that kind of intention around root chakra work, because you're an organism, a biological organism that grew on this planet, just like the grass, just like the tree, just like anything else. You have all of the right to be here. So I am supported, I am supported. And then that would be connected to the sacral, basically to explore when and why and how and with whom did you perhaps learn to not feel supported. And of course, this is childhood trauma related, or adult trauma if the rug gets pulled out from under you unexpectedly. But yes, so the Ho'oponopono practice that the link has been dropped in here, burning and releasing practices, identifying that part of you that hurts the most and feels uncomfortable. Approach her like a child. If you don't like kids, try. Approach her like a child and just let her cry. And then just ask her, what did you need? What did you need to feel safe that you didn't get, that I can do for you? Because I love you. And like, it makes me emotional to see inner child work. I keep a picture of myself as a baby in my office, and I walk by it every single time I come in this room, and I say I'm doing it for her. I'm showing up for her. I'm practicing my programs and my experiences of her value, and I'm never, like, do it for her. Yeah. Okay, Brittany says, oh no, are you back, Brittany? Can you hear me? Thank you for sharing that. It helped me connect the dots around how I accept ungrateful root clients for the sake of money. I have worked with clients that probably weren't a good fit as well. And so this is just like spending, Brittany, it's like spending time understanding how much you've grown. Like, you've even changed so much in the last 6 months. You've been through so much and you've changed so much. You've learned so much in the last couple of years. You've been to hell and back a few times. And so just thinking, like, who's the woman who I'm obsessed with? Like, who is the woman that I can't wait to work with? And really fill out that client identity, that you can really feel her. And then, like, if you're talking to her, how would you talk? If she was the only one who was watching, listening, how would you talk to her? So, like, tuning out from potential haters. It's not a matter of if, it's a when. But if you're just only talking to her, if she was the only person on the whole internet, was your absolute dream client who's like, what is it, like 20K? All right, let me give you 5 now. And yay, Brittany, I can't wait to work with you, Brittany. I respect you so much. If you were only talking to her, how would you talk and how would you show up? Yeah? Okay. Second Q in the Fed. Let me read it. Okay. When I see people criticizing women sharing their income in their marketing, I do internalize this and secretly hope no one is thinking that about me, which I know is logically you can't control. You want your experience to inspire but not trigger. Everybody relates to this, Brittany. So thank you for saying everybody relates to this. And I have also felt that when I've seen people get bullied before or like attacked, I've been like, oh, like, but not me though, please. And I actually have a post that I wrote today that I'm going to post after this. And I also talked with one of my private clients on a call about this today, Brittany. But it's not a matter. You want your experiences to inspire but not trigger. I'm going to say I want you to trigger people. I want you to trigger people because your perspective, your unique perspective that is so provocative, that is going to be exactly the thing why people hire you and not somebody else. So the way that I think about this, the way that I think about the content, about if it triggers people or not, and I think I talked about this in the Biz Blitz. I think I don't know, in private calls, one-on-one calls, I call it content, with a K, of course. But it's the kind of content that it attracts the right people, but it also pushes lots of people away. And it's awesome. I think it is one of the best, most effective kind of content. And if it's something that you can get behind, that you're like, I don't care, come at me, like fucking come at me. You want to fight about it? I'm not going to fight with you because you're not worth my time. But if you want to fight with me, I will fight with you about it. Kind of. Like, that's how strong you should feel. And that's why this morning when this person called me a liar about my post, about me talking about my life, I'm like, you fucking idiot. It doesn't bother me because I'm like, you're a crazy person. Okay. Do it for her. Oh my god, I have a story for you from when I did Hope for the first day. Yeah, definitely message me, Kayla. I want to hear it. Like, hello, mirror to my soul, showing me what means forgiveness and compassion and healing. Yes. You have a different question? Your second question. Meta was your highest painful client ever. Okay, so you need to, everybody who doesn't know the backstory, Brittany has had this nightmare client and she gaslit her and love bombed her and went back on her word, and it was very, very difficult. This was years ago, but I remember, we all remember, you know. But she was your only painful client. So this, I love that you've identified this for me, and I love that you've brought this up, because this definitely will be a block in your unconscious, being like, you don't want a painful client, they're mean. Painful clients are mean. You don't want that. So, right, like your brain just wants to keep you safe. So this is where you go deep, specifically onto this. So specific, burning, releasing, saging, clearing, perhaps talking to a healer, perhaps talking to a shaman, doing whatever you need to do to get to the place, hear me out, of not only forgiving the version of yourself who tolerated that, forgiving the people who gave you an attitude of poverty, that you as a businesswoman would do anything for money because somebody breached your boundaries and hurt you and hurt your sense of self-worth, that you did work that you shouldn't have done for money because you didn't feel like there was enough money. You did it because you felt like you were in lack. So there's a situation that happened that put you in that state to forgive yourself as well, and then even to get to the place of forgiveness for her. Forgiveness, compassion, and indifference to Meadow, to this client. And then even, I'm going to even say this, even forgiving money. Like, imagine if you had one bad pizza and it was like, I don't know, like imagine if you got like gas station pizza on the side of a highway in the middle of nowhere in America, and then you go to Italy and you're like, oh no, all pizza is terrible. I had, trust me, I know pizza. I had a pizza on the side of the road outside of some town in Ohio, and I was pooping my pants for 4 days. Pizza makes you sick. Pizza is horrible. It's the worst food in the world. It should be illegal. It should be outlawed. Nobody should eat pizza. I know because I had one bad pizza. I know it. You guys, I know it. That's what this is with money. Isn't that silly? So you can't put painful clients and money itself into a box. Money is going to hurt me. So this is very, very deep and very specific. So I think that working around that situation is going to work really well. Okay. All right, Brittany. Last question, Brittany, and then we'll continue the conversation for a bit. But then Cassidy has a question. So good. And anybody else, put your hand up, and then I'll call on you. Brittany says, "How can I find evidence that people will respect and pay me high amounts of dollars? It brings me back to the money equals abuse belief. How can I find evidence that people will respect and pay me high amounts of money?" What I would do first is ask yourself, I would put both of these things in a box. So, or on, just separate these two things. I would write one column of journaling. What is respect? What does respect look like? What does respect feel like? How does respect show up? And then put in a column over here, get specific. What is high amounts of money? Because something that's high for some people is going to be like low and almost nothing for some people. You know what I mean? There's a scale. Like I had somebody tell me recently, well, I mean, if it's 50K or if it's 80K, you know, they're almost the same thing. And I was like, not to some people, but that was, you know. So define for yourself what is high, right? And then play with the amount of high money, of how it feels for you. How does it feel in your body? Where is the tipping point of money that's high, so high that it's starting to feel dangerous? So define respect, define high money for yourself. Then you now need to see, okay, then you look for the evidence outside of yourself to see as many people as you can who pay high prices for things using and respectful people. So people who have characteristics and qualities that you admire, people that you respect. So then create a list of people that you respect in your mind. And then that kind of a person, what's a high price purchase that people like this have made that you've seen? So like my grandpa, for example, my mom's dad, super high integrity man. I love him so much. My grandpa, my papa, and he'd buy, when I was younger, he would buy nice cars, and I don't know if he would buy them cash or something. But so I have evidence of a person I respect and admire who spends high money for something. So respectful people can spend high money for something. So connect those dots first. And then look for evidence of people, now make it smaller. Look for evidence in your realm of people who you respect, who are in the same industry as you, people who you respect, who have paid or received high money. So you're creating bridges to beliefs. And then the last thing that you're going to do is do a visualization practice, and the meditation from this program would help a lot. A visualization practice of seeing yourself, like even just creating the movie in your head, even draw it out if you want to sketch it out, or if you want to make a vision board about it, picture of you, picture of big money, picture of you, your hand is out receiving big money. Photoshop a picture of your bank statement, your screen, your online banking. Photoshop it to say a huge amount. You've just received, like, amount received, da-da-da, however it looks. Photoshop it, and then to see how your body feels with it. And then as you're experiencing this, I would do tapping, anchoring, I would do breath work, and I would like look at it and brainwash yourself to be like, my name, me, my face, money, that's the amount that's in my account. Am I willing to accept this? And then even say to yourself out loud, I am willing to believe that it's possible for me to receive high amounts of money from respectful, loving people. I'm willing to believe. So bridge the gap of disbelief in your mind. I hope that makes sense. Okay, Cassidy, next question. Okay, and then we're gonna have like 10 more minutes, you guys. It's getting to be dinner time in Germany. Okay, I love this though. So fire the questions at me. Since I'm in the beginning of my biz and have not yet gotten any clients, which I obviously desire because I want to serve and share my wisdom for their growth and expansion, I'm finding that I'm intertwining clients with money, and I know that that is not a healthy energy to approach the client relationship and biz in general. So I guess the question is how to untangle the client from the money that they bring into my reality. I would suggest, okay, you said, okay, I'll get to the next. Need to start making money, of course, because you need of course we need money. We need money. Of course we do. That's okay. Don't wrong yourself for needing money. So when it comes to separating, what can be very, very helpful, you've done so much work already around clarifying who is your client, what is your message, and what are you a master of? Because it's so important to the beginning of your business, especially. It's so important to work from where you are right now, and that's also an expression of self-love and self-acceptance and self-confidence. No, and it's a way of showing to the world, I am enough. I am enough right now. Like me, I'm not about to be teaching about being a multimillionaire because I'm not a multimillionaire. So, but I'm not going to be like, I'm not good enough because I can't teach on being a multimillionaire and then not do something. So teach from where you're at right now. Teach from where you're already a master right now, which we've talked about and which you were doing. Then I would have many different baskets. So I would have, is this the octopus again, but conscious, she's in conscious opulence. We had a whole thing with an octopus. It's a long story, you guys. I would have multiple things that you're offering and selling and doing, and I would have multiple different price levels that people can come at. And then I would do the money pathway practice that was in yesterday's guide in day 2, so that you can see that there's actually so many ways that money can come in through people choosing themselves by choosing you. So instead of it's like I'm doing one-on-one, and one-on-one is what I do, and one-on-one is this much money, and so that means that every person who's in my DMs or watching my stories or, you know, choosing something, each one of these people, let's say if you have a one-on-one package that's 10K, each one of these people is 10K, and that's all you can see when you see their names in the DMs, and in your stuff it's 10K, 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 and it's making it. So I would have many different, I would create like 6 different levels of one-on-one, and then I would maybe have like a master class, and then I think you've got your mastermind. So I would have so many different ones. I would be talking about all of them multiple times a day, whichever one is lighting you up the most, selling so many different things all the time that you're not getting precious or hung up or attached to any particular number. Because it's like, even me today, I was like, wow, like, imagine if somebody chooses one-on-one and then like that's 88. Or what if somebody chooses like 6 months? That would be so cool. Wow, and that would be like this. And it's like, wow, that's so cool. But then I'm like, okay, but I'm also starting to pre-sell Brilliance. I'm also, you know, there are also so many other things that I'm not going to tell you yet. There are also so many things that I'm excited about that I don't get fixated on, you know. So that's how I think you could separate seeing the people as a number, as a price. And then also, Cassidy, the bold content, showing your personality behind the scenes, your daily life, letting people get to know your particular brand of SaaS. Is really high visibility is so important in the beginning, so people can know, like, so even you can do some cute things too, and this would be fun to not take yourself so seriously, and like the kind of things that people, oh, fuck, what's it called? Where's my brain? What's it called? Like when you in your stories, when it's like this or that. That's what I'm talking about. A this or that thing in your stories, where it could be like, are you a coffee person or a tea person? Are you a beach person or a mountains person? Are you going to the Maldives or are you going to the Himalayas? Are you scared of spiders or are you not scared of spiders? Do you have a spiritual practice, or that stuff's all fluffy? So if you did like some audience engagement things that helps them get to know you behind the brand. I remember that I did lots of stuff like that in my first year of business, and it was awesome, massive growth and consistent clients all the time. And how-to content that is really quick. So like, here's 3 ways to do this. Something that they can feel like they get a quick win. The kind of content in your stories and in your feed posts that's like, what's a common problem that this person would have, and what's a quick way that they could just fix it. Nothing too long. And then they'll come to associate Pavlovian response. They'll associate your feed with a feel-good place, a place that's fun, a place where they're seen, and a place where they get amazing information. And like my first year of business, I remember I woke up in the morning, and like as soon as I unblocked the throat, and that was like the thyroid cancer, as soon as I unblocked the throat, you just couldn't stop me, like a runaway train. And I had a lot of how-to content. I was doing a lot of Instagram lives, very opinionated, really sharing my opinion. I'm surprised I haven't gotten more hate, honestly. That actually is what surprised me. And it's never men, it's always women. I never get any rude, inappropriate comments from men. Isn't that funny? But I remember one day I woke up and there was, I had like over 50 likes from somebody, the same person, and she was in my DMs and she was saying, Krista, I was homeless. And she's like, I was homeless, I was in a shelter with my baby, and your content like kept me going and taught me so much. And now I've got my own apartment and we're doing good and I'm doing this. And she was doing great and she was doing great. She's now put herself through school. She's become a psychologist. She's amazing. She's amazing. But she saved money and she hired me. And she told me, your content is what kept me going. And I'll never forget. That's why I always want to provide amazing free resources for people. So that is amazing content, Cassidy. That would be fun. If it's making you feel like it's fun, then that's a really good thing too. Get to know me and also making it about them. I want to get to know you. Who are you people? Who are you crazy people? Where are you guys from? So I remember I did that once. I did a question box. Where are we from? Where are you guys from? And then wherever the person was from, when I responded, when I posted their response, I put up like the craziest picture that was like a stereotypical picture of that country. And it became very silly. And then people were very entertained by the engagement and stuff. So many people kept commenting, and it was like, yeah. I was interviewed by a magazine not long after that, even though I had like 200 followers. So that could be fun. Do that, get to know them. I did the path exercise last night with that. Have 6 paths at different levels. That's awesome. And then do a masterclass, do a paid masterclass. Yeah, you're welcome. I spoke to you. Okay, one more. Let's see. If anybody else has a question, drop them in. I like the idea of being excited about so many things in order to not get fixated. That is such a game changer, Cynthia. I started doing that last year, and it's awesome. Like it just takes all of that pressure off, and then it just feels so fun. I love all of my offers. I love them all equally. So I'm as excited when somebody says that they want pre-sale for Brilliance. That's 233 right now. When people say they want that, I'm like, woo! And if somebody comes in and it's they want to do one-on-one and it's like 80 grand, I'm like, yay! Like that. It all makes me so excited. I'm so excited for all of it. Or when people choose Conscious Opulence, it's awesome. It's all awesome. It's such a great place to create from. Cassidy says, I know we spoke about how I found that I was holding receiving clients on a pedestal, but I'm still working through that. It's okay. Yes. And I just so want to serve and working with clients, so I'm living my purpose and living my mission. And at the same time, I do need to start making money because I haven't invested everything into your biz. Yes. So, you know what can be very satisfying as well? When, like, for me, it was and is very much the same. Like, if I don't get to share what I want to share and my wisdom and all of this, if I don't get to, I feel like I'm going to pop. I hate it. So I did so many masterclasses, like free masterclasses, like a free webinar in exchange for people's email address. So I built my email list, and I would do like full on trainings about stuff. And I became so known for certain things. And as you can see, I love doing this. So like my personality really shows, and people, I hope you're having a good time. I like to think that people do. So that could be something that imagine if everybody's your client. Imagine if they're all your clients, like all of your followers are actually your clients. And then you're giving them the work, you're giving them the service. So that might be something that feels good too. And then unapologetically doing a CTA, a call to action, unapologetically all the time, plugging yourself all the time. And every time you do a masterclass being like, or like a free training or a free webinar or really good how-to instructional content, because you are such a wealth of wisdom, unapologetically every single time being like, and this is, there's so many ways that we can work together. If you want to deepen this experience, then let's go, like, DM me, and you can say like, there's this, and just play around with it. Say DM me to find out how, say that sometimes be very specific and put the price right in the thing. Mix it up. It's really cool too. The CTA, always the CTA. And you know why? It's because people need to know also that it's a business and it's not just an aesthetic blog. So I get very confused. Like sometimes when I'm like messing around on the Instagrams and I'm looking at people who are business owners, I'm just like, what can I buy from you? Like, I'm looking in the stories, I'm like, but how do I buy this? Where's the link? Where's the call? What do I do? The call to action. So just because that's been my experience as a purchaser sometimes as a buyer, I want to make sure it's really, really easy for people. Like, here's the CTA, here's what you can do, here's what's available, DM me for this, DM me for that, here's the link, go here. And so the people who do want something are like, awesome, thank you. And I love doing as well, like the swipe for the thing. I know I'm lazy. I don't want to, the least that I have to do to buy the thing that I want, happier I am. So I love in my stories just like swipe here if you want it. And then I just message them like, hey, I see that you swiped on this thing. Would you like it? And if they're like, oh no, like I was just like totally loving what you were saying. Totally cool. No problem. So make it really easy. Yeah. Okay. Cynthia says the thought of all followers being aligned. That's the noise I make when I see the face. So there's some work for me there because I'm pulling and pushing people away. Is it okay? No, it's. I just felt something. I feel like it's because perhaps overwhelmed, overworked, overburdened, and maybe are you giving from a full cup or an empty cup? I feel like maybe it's time for like a little injection of selfishness, protecting yourself with boundaries, because it seems like maybe you're on the edge of like, if one more person asks me for something, I'm gonna lose my shit. I don't know, but that could be it. So getting really selfish and then being honest about what capacity you have for what. So, yeah. Perhaps I'm internally overburdened, but definitely not with actual work. Internally overburdened, perhaps. Or it could also be a performance thing, like a performance anxiety, perfectionism. And then the idea of like so many people eyes on you. So if that's the way that it feels, then what Brittany and I spoke about earlier, just imagining, like, fill out the personality, the identity, the characteristics of your absolute like dreamiest dream client, and being very aware of the capacity, like what are your deliverables, what's their proximity access to you, where are your boundaries at, your healthy boundaries within that working relationship, and this dreamy client. And just imagine that your content and what you're doing is just for her. Nobody else exists. That might be helpful too. Yeah. It's okay. It's a work in progress, and that's why we work. This is why we do the work all the time, every day. So like it's non-negotiable. My journal's right there. I meditate right there all the time, every day, even when I'm on holiday. And if I start to feel shitty, and if I start to feel less inspired, then I'm just like, have I been half-assing my ritual? And I'm like, I have been. It's okay. Yeah. Okay. Does anybody else? This has been so good. So I've got links that's gonna go up in the group. We are gonna do the currency, the currency current. We are gonna do that. There is gonna be an extension, a 10-day container. It might just be in Box, or it might just be in Telegram. A 10-day container. Maybe it's both Facebook and Telegram. We're gonna do a 10-day, either 10 days or 11 days, something like that, of money injection, cash injection, getting into the stream of currency. Still haven't figured out the branding, but that's going to be 111 for anybody who's in here who wants to extend to that. I will probably make it available to the public. It will probably go up to over $1,000, but for you guys, pre-sale one-on-one, I'm going to put that link into the thing. And what else? Conscious opulence. If anyone like conscious opulence, we have the 6-6 deal for you after talking about the witch moon yesterday. So those things are going to go to the Facebook group. They'll be emailed as well. Message me if you've got questions. Brittany says, ooh, I love it. Krista currency. I love it so much. I love you so much too, Tammy. I'm so excited for our one-on-one to start and for our human design. Yay! I love you guys. So everybody who's in conscious opulence, you'll be in the currency current. Krista currency current. I don't know. You'll be in it automatically. Conscious opulence members get to be a part of everything. Private clients as well. So you guys are all in. If you're not in conscious opulence, if you're not a private client, then it's 111 for you. And or just join conscious opulence, or just become a one-on-one client. Why not? Brittany says, when will it start? This is a very good question, Brittany. So I had obviously wanted it to start immediately, but then I just found out yesterday evening that I have to go to Dubai again this Friday. So I'm flying to Dubai all of a sudden and had to make all of these childcare arrangements and everything. I'm going to be in Dubai all of next week until next Sunday. And then I'm going to like a castle hotel for days with my husband. I honestly don't even know. So I have to leave a suitcase full of winter clothes in Munich, and then fly to the desert, and then fly back, and then drive to the mountains. I don't fucking know. So I think it makes the most sense that we'll do this in March. So consider it pre-sale. And oh yay! She says, Tammy says conscious. We love conscious opulence. Yeah, it's okay. It's good. So we'll be starting in March, so that I can be totally present good idea as well, so that everybody has more time and space to integrate this work and to really, because this is heavy. I know we've done it in 3 days, but this is like, this could be, like Brittany's worked with me for a long time. This could be a 3-month program. That's what we've done here. There could be 3 months of unpacking this. This is so much conditioning around money that we've unpacked. So we love conscious opulence. Cassidy says conscious opulence, and Tammy says yes, it's a high vibe container. Do not hesitate. Yay, we love it. So I'll put those links up. If anybody has questions, message me. And then yeah, the current the money stream, whatever it's gonna be called. We're gonna start that in March. So I love you guys all. This is so amazing. I'm gonna miss you. I'm sad that fun money is over, but we'll look forward to the currency current. So cute. I guess that's the name. Thank you so much, Brittany and Cynthia, for helping me name it. I love you. I will see those of you in conscious opulence. I will see you there. Private clients, I will see you there. And otherwise, I will see you on the internet, you guys, in the next masterclass. Yay! You should just join conscious opulence, Brittany. You save so much money and you get so much access, like almost every single day. I'm there pretty much every day, and it's deep. Yes. Okay. And it's 666, just for the fun money people. It's 666. Okay. I love you. I love you guys all. I'm sure I'll see some of you in the messages, and I'll see you on the next one. I'll see you on the internet. Go make lots of money. Have fun. I'll talk to you soon.